Welcome to RhapsodyCast, episode 6 this time. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Nate.
And today we're going to bring you some free fiction for your ear holes.
Oh, yeah.
But before we do that, Nate, what did you today for this story? Like, what inspired you to write this story?
Well, it had to be about pirates.
Pirates.
And it had to be about dragons.
Dragons for yours.
And so I wrote about some pirates and some dragons. No, I don't know. I had a cool idea for a variation on a parrot. Instead of a parrot, I had a different idea.
Okay.
And that's kind of what made the story happen.
Nice.
So it was just like that one little element, and then I was like, well, if that happens, then I can do this.
Nice.
So
I like it.
And that's just kind of how I write my stories. Like, this is gonna happen now, and it's just like it's logical to me, and that's a little frightening.
I think that's how all stories like that's how I write. I'll think of an idea. It's like, I want that idea. I want to put that idea down, and it's like, how do I logically get to that, and then where do I go from there?
Yeah, I didn't actually think about how logically I got to it. It just happens.
Oh, well, I mean, that's fine too. I mean, that might be funnier. Like,
well, I'm full of chuckles.
Full of chuckles.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoy whatever you do. Like, everything you've done, I've enjoyed.
Oh, thank you, man.
For the last decade we've known each other.
I certainly enjoyed last week's episode, the fairy episode. Sorry
to all the people that have recently or ever listened to the fairy episode. The whole not talking thing didn't work.
Yeah, it was so hard.
I've heard from multiple people, some of my friends, coworkers, some of my family members that they dislike the interruptions. I don't think that they're the majority. They're just the people I've asked, and that's something that they have mentioned. I've also gotten feedback that they like it. Some friends, not so much anywhere else.
And yeah, and I mean, like, I enjoy interrupting.
That's the thing.
And like being interrupted. I enjoy having a conversation about what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah,
while I'm doing it.
We wrote these stories. Like, we could write stories and do it all by ourselves, and it'd be fun and whatever. But it wouldn't be as fun as doing the podcast. And so, I mean, to a point, like, we're doing this for you guys, and we want to be entertaining for you guys. But if it's not fun for us, we're not going to do it. And that was not fun.
Right. And editing it was boring.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, hey, make sure you stay to the very, very end of the fairy episode after the final piece of music plays.
Oh, why is that?
Just do it.
Oh, no. That's scary.
You haven't listened yet.
No, I know. So, I guess we should get into the stories now, huh?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, my prompt for this week was Pirates and Dragons, and the title of my story is The Pirates' Feast.
Okay, sounds delicious.
All right. Captain Frederick Craddock emerged with a splash from the surface of the great ocean. He watched as his newly acquired / immediately stolen brig sailed away with his old sloop into the sunset. Arr! He mumbled a bit and then started swimming the great distance to the nearby island. He was in a lousy mood. Swimming closer and closer to the island gave him time to think about his life and about the choices he made. Maybe being a pirate wasn't the best decision ever. Maybe he would be better off learning a new skill altogether and give up his life of crime, or what some would consider crime at the least. He could feel the wet sand of solid ground beneath his feet. He sluggishly rose from the cruel ocean, tripped, and landed on the sandy beach of his new island home. He crawled until he was far enough away from the tide, rolled over onto his back, and let out a massive sigh. He was exhausted and decided this was a good enough place as any to catch up on sleep.
Man, this is the most depressing pirate story of all time.
Yeah, it gets better.
I want that to be like... And then the worm started eating his beard, and this one guy took his leg. It's like, yeah, that got better, I guess.
No, it gets... I don't know. It's weird. Like, my story takes complete turns.
That's fine.
Like,
I mean, that's how you find the fun, right?
I guess so. He awoke to see two large, yellow, pupilless eyes staring back at him. Wah! He let out a startled yell, but then he realized who the eyes belonged to. Wex, you came back! The small red demon fluttered his wings and perched himself on Freddy's shoulder. I called him Freddy in one.
Just one time.
One time.
Nice.
I was like, Freddy. Of course I would come back, Master. You are my favorite. Arr, thanks. That means a lot to me. After what those worm-riddled blackguards did to me and my ship, I'm glad I still have you as a friend. We should kill them all, said Wex. Freddy chuckled. In due time. Man, doing a pirate voice the whole episode is going to be really hard.
All I know is I'm hearing your pirate voice, so I'm like, oh man, I hope I can do a good pirate voice. I thought about it, but I hadn't thought enough about it. I don't know, I'm worried.
Why?
Because it sets the mood.
Yeah. Arr, har, har, har.
Yarrr.
Yarrr. In due time. But first, we have to find a way off this island. I guess I kept calling him Freddy. Jeez, I don't even know what I wrote. I'm going to call him Frederick. Frederick looked...
You're going to just edit it on the fly.
Yeah, hold on. Word find. No, I'm just kidding. I'll just call him Freddy. Who cares? He's Freddy Craddock, the captain.
That's not a bad pirate name either.
Freddy looked to his left and right, seeing the beach go on for miles in each direction. He looked to the sky and saw a huge mountain blocked by a vast forest. I hope this place is habited. As the pirate and Wix started making their way into the forest, they heard a large booming noise behind them. They turned to see another boat out in the ocean. Freddy ran towards the shore, waving his arms. Hey, hey, he shouted. Wix, fly over there and ask them if they can get us off this island.
No, he's a demon.
What?
He's going to send the demon? I'm not going to trust that guy.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's a floaty red demon dude.
I get the logic of using something with wings. You go and tell the part where they don't trust him because he's a deep. And then I feel bad because I called your joke out a minute early.
All right. On command, Wix flew over to the ship. Captain Freddy stood and watched the ship in the distance. The little demon... What?
Did it actually say Freddy there, or did you...
It says Freddy.
Oh, okay.
I just call him Freddy. Sometimes I call him Craddock. I don't know, whatever.
Like, you called him Frederick once, and then were upset you didn't call him that more?
Yeah. Whatever.
It's
I like Freddy.
I'm in. You got me. Hooked. I want to know what this guy does.
Okay. On command, Wix flew over to the ship. Captain Freddy stood and watched the ship in the distance. The little demon landed on the ship. The ship then exploded, sending flames, wood planks, people, and other junk all over the place.
Holy crap.
Wix returned to his master. They said no. Freddy frowned.
Okay. I like it.
Okay. Yeah. It's like, if they don't comply, I mean, he's a demon. A giant flaming keg of beer landed directly in front of Freddy. Master, the booze will make all of your troubles go away.
Man, this guy is just like the devil on your shoulder.
That's exactly what I was going for.
I love it. This is perfect.
He doesn't have an angel.
No, he's a pirate. Pirates don't have angels.
Right. Aye, that it will. He just agrees with him all the time.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. The pirate punched a hole through the top of the keg, lifted it with one arm, and chugged the grog until the keg was empty. Completely inebriated, Freddy waltzed into the dark forest. He pulled out his cutlass and started going nuts on the foliage. He was chopping down trees and vines and bushes and snakes and deers. After chopping up one deer, he locked eyes with a bear. The bear ran over to the pirate, and Freddy picked up the dead deer and handed it over with a smile. The bear grabbed it with his teeth and trotted away. The bear dropped the deer and ran back over to Freddy and high-fived him.
Nice.
After the bear ate the deer, the three of them continued on through the dense forest. They soon found their way to a cave. Freddy looked into the blackness. He could see a dim light. The light grew and a huge fireball came shooting out of the cave, nearly missing Freddy and his friends. Freddy looked at Wix. The demon nodded and smiled. Freddy looked over to his new bear friend. The bear shook his head and whimpered. The demon scowled at the bear and set him on fire with magic, sending the bear running back into the forest on fire.
Damn.
Since everything outside of the cave was on fire, the only logical thing the drunken pirate could think to do was go into the cave. Freddy stumbled into the cave, his vision blurred to the point of quintuple vision. He saw 5 blurry fireballs coming straight towards him, and then he blacked out. Back on the ship, Freddy Craddock's right-hand man, Burger Mad Dog Rodman, contemplated his decision. I just want to mention that, I think in episode 3 or 4, you named someone, you gave someone a last name.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't do last names. And then after that, I've only done last names.
That was episode 4. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's great.
He looked over to the prisoners tied to the mast, and then all around to his band of pirates standing around looking bored. Hey guys, anyone got any ideas? We're all just standing around doing nothing. We need to get out and do something. I miss Captain Craddock, one of the pirates said. He knew how to have fun. Yeah, you think? Mad Dog contemplated. Maybe. Maybe you should let us go, said one of the captives. That would be fun. Mad Dog killed all the captives in under 5 seconds.
Oh, man.
Maybe we should go back to get the captain. You think he'll be mad about the whole mutiny thing? Another pirate spoke up. It's hard to say. Let's just hope he's not dead. And then now I wrote wub times 20 because wub 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 wub.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The booming noise woke Captain Craddock up. Before him stood an enormous dragon who was wearing a baseball cap on backwards, thick frame prescriptionless glasses, and a dark blue cotton sweater that had an adorable cat wearing a scarf. It was a dubstep dragon.
Oh, shit.
What's up, man? How's it going? How's your nap? The dubstep dragon roared over the music. I love how he roared the weird, the most nonchalant thing.
Yeah, yeah.
What? What? The pirate stood up and looked around. The cave was filled with gold doubloons and magical sound systems pumping out the fattest bass he had ever heard. His head throbbed. He couldn't think. This was too much. Turn it down! He shouted. The dragon either couldn't hear him or he was just being a beehole. Can you turn it down? Arrgh! The dragon went on popping and locking and ignored the irate pirate. Oh, shit. Where's Wix? No answer, just more bumping. Between the noise of the music and the noise of the dragon pounding his dancing feet on the ground and his massive hangover, Captain Craddock couldn't take it any longer. He totally threw up. The music suddenly stopped with a scratching noise. Or the record scratching noise, I guess. Yeah. Hey man, the beehole dragon said, I invited you into my cave. I'm showing you hospitality by letting you hear my newest tracks before they hit the street. And this is how you act? That's uncool, dude. Arr, that's all I wanted. Quiet. I don't feel good. Before the pirate could respond, Wix burst through a pile of gold. Captain Craddock, let's steal all this dragon's gold.
He just says that in front of the dragon?
Maybe, the pirate thought. Hey, what? I'm right here, okay? I can't let you steal all my gold. That's super lame. I'm a dragon, you know. I can totally mess you up. Listen, let's make a deal. I have a magical demon wizard. He'll probably grant you any wish you want. Don't kill us in exchange for your gold. We will grant you any wish you want. I want to be world famous and have everyone know about my music, the dragon smiled. Wix, can you do that? I'm gonna take a nap. The pirate fell onto a comfortable-looking pile of gold. Sure I can. And then I literally... I don't know if this is interesting, but I wrote "sure I can," and then I made a smiley face with the colon and the parentheses.
You did like a little emoticon?
Yeah.
That's great.
And then I just wrote "evil grin." Like I said, this is probably one of my laziest stories ever.
Yeah, dude, I'm enjoying the shit out of it.
Okay, and this will even prove it. Cue a big old montage of Dubstep Dragon and Wix the Demon Wizard going all around Tarantinia. A shot of them playing for a small tavern show. The crowd reaction's a little confused. They don't appear to be having a good time. Cut to Wix setting the crowd on fire. A shot of the dragon signing a record deal. Another shot of them opening for Destruction Beard, Tarantinia's current #1 metal band. Another shot of Wix killing all the members of Destruction Beard.
Oh no!
Now,
I was totally thinking their name.
Now the Dubstep Dragon has taken over the tour. Anyone that boozes is immediately set on fire by Wix. All that's left are the fans. That was one paragraph.
Yeah. It was like a movie.
And it was like totally like dubstep, like infused. like that's how it would have.
And then like when it like you know it's doing like the fast stuff, and then it's a cut to the slow stuff, like they do in dubstep. That's like when
and they do like slow motion.
It was like bum bum bum, and like when it's doing that bumps, that's when he's setting a dude on fire. And then like he's on stage, and then gets setting a guy on fire. Bum 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 bum. We're good.
There's some times where that happens.
Yeah, dude.
I don't listen to dubstep at all.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you after the story.
Okay.
Anyway, cut back to the cave where Captain Craddock is waking up. I feel much better now. Dubstep Dragon and Wix walk through the cave entrance. Did you do it? Did it work? Yeah, I've been selling out shows like crazy, Pirate Man. Thanks a bunch. You can have my gold since I've got all the money and fame I want. Thanks. But I would like to ask one more favor of you. Could you let us ride you and find our ship? Sure. Captain Craddock jumped on top of Dubstep Dragon as Wix started grabbing all the gold in an enormous pouch. They all flew out of the cave and through the forest. The captain saw his charred bear friend. Bear, he yelled, and Dubstep Dragon snatched him up and placed him on his back. They flew for a couple hours until they reached the stolen ship. The dragon landed with cinematic flair, and the pirates rushed to see what all the commotion was. Mad Dog! Captain Craddock shouted. And then, Mad Dog's voice was, like, basically the same as Captain Craddock, right? Captain Craddock! Mad Dog! Captain Craddock!
It's like
they're two different people.
Episode where the two guys that have the exact same voice finally meet.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess there's a reason why we never were in the same room. Yeah, this is a little confusing, isn't it?
I could only do one pirate voice. Arr!
And one's all you need.
Okay. Apparently not. Captain Craddock, I'm so glad you're back. It looks like you've been having quite an adventure. We're bored. Can you be our captain again? The captain tugged on his beard and thought, this is the first time I mentioned him having a beard.
Yeah, you didn't give any physical description. I mentioned him having a beard before you did.
Okay, good. Captain tugged his beard and thought, yes, of course I will. The men shouted and cheers, and Captain Craddock karate kicked the Dubstep Dragon so hard that he burst into 1,000 little pieces of delicious dragon jerky. All the pirates ate, drank, and danced and sang. And they all lived happily ever after. The end.
Holy shit, you killed off Dubstep Dragon?
Dubstep Dragon is jerky, man.
Hey, he's the #1 guy in Terrence.
Yeah, dude. I killed off the #2, both of them, in one story.
That's the day
two top musicals.
It's the day that music died for Tarantino.
Oh, man.
It's like, it's American Pie, but it's Tarantino Pie. Damn.
Tarantino Pie. Dude, okay, so I, you know how I'm like, I don't research.
Yeah.
I looked up, and also Dubstep Dragon, I wanted to just call him Skrillex, because that's a fucking badass name for a dragon.
Yeah, it is. Why didn't you call him Skrillex, the Dubstep Dragon?
Because I didn't want to go that far.
Okay.
Because I have my own limits, Matt.
It's too much.
It's too much. But no, I looked up an interview on it because I was like, how do people that like dubstep talk? Like, what are their mannerisms? And he just sounds like a normal dude that kind of doesn't finish sentences all that well. Like me, I guess.
Oh, man. This looks so bad.
Yeah, he's got a funky look to him. But it's all the look. He just sounds normal. He's like, I make music. And
when you gave him glasses, that was a Skrillex joke.
Yeah, he's got prescriptionless glasses. He's a fucking hipster.
Yeah, see, I was thinking hipster. I wasn't thinking Skrillex.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
But yeah, it makes sense.
Hipster and Skrillex. I guess, isn't Scriblips, isn't he a hipster of some sort? I don't know. We're all hipsters in our own way.
Yeah. My story, my prompts were pirates. It was a shared prompt, and then my unique prompt was fireworks because you gave it to me for the episode that would air on the 4th of July, which conveniently we're recording on the 4th of July because we're really late this week. But they don't know that, but now they do.
They don't.
And you're gonna find that there's some similarities between our stories that you would not have suspected. So my story of pirates and fireworks is called No Title. That's one word, Notitle, no title.
Okay.
It'll make sense about 2 pages in.
I don't know, Matt. I think you're being a little lazy with your story writing. It's a joke, because I'm lazy.
It's because you talk about how lazy your story was the whole time you were doing it.
Yep.
Okay. During the sundering of South Rock, as the peninsula was magically forced in the ocean, most of the docks, ships, and harbors were destroyed. Though there was an immediate surge from the shipwrights to replace the lost fleets, once the Veil of Mist was discovered, naval exploration mostly died off. Though entirely removed from all other continents, the formation of many new islands and reordering of the value of many natural resources still allowed for many freight transporting ships and naval merchants, though not nearly as many as there once was. With the reduced number of trading vessels, naturally piracy became scarcer. Behind the Veil, only the toughest or the most desperate found themselves stalking on the high seas.
Is this a story about people behind the veil?
Behind the Veil is in it, I guess. I don't know. All of my stories are in the Veil, I guess. I should have said in the Veil instead of behind.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like outside the veil. I was like, what?
No.
What?
Knows if there's anything outside the Veil.
There's Prank King.
Prank King says he knows. But can you trust the king of pranks? No-Beard the pirate was a heavy serving of both desperate and tough.
Oh, his name is No-Beard?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, no.
No, dude.
Oh, it's so sad.
When I'll get to the end of the sentence, you'll disagree with that.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe you won't, because it talks about orphans.
Oh, well, you know how I feel about orphans.
I know. Like, that one guy, that lizardman would kill them all.
Most of all of them have already died in my world. There are no orphans.
No-Beard was raised an orphan in the dwarven capital of Martorium. To any human, his moniker would seem a misnomer, but as a young dwarf, his beard came in late and was always slow growing. Even now, it barely reached his shirt collar. Picked on.
Jeez, what kind of a dwarf is he?
It's the kind of dwarf that the dwarves call him No-Beard.
Man, he's only got like half a beard.
Yeah, dude.
Equals no beards for dwarves.
Yeah. Like a human beard is like no beard to a dwarf.
Man.
Picked on throughout his formative years, he decided as he became an adult that he needed to be as far from dwarven society as possible, which meant the open waters. Piracy seemed a natural course, seeing as he felt he was owed something, and he had no qualms about taking it from whomever. No-Beard sat at his captaining desk. His wooden chair leaned back on 2 legs, with his worn leather boots propped up on the smooth surface. He wore white wool breeches, which were tucked into his boots, and a black shirt in the usual style, with the string untied and loose around his neck. The fingers of one gloved hand absently played with his short, scraggly black beard. Just below the bottom of his facial hair was tied a necklace made of braided hemp, with a blue glass bead set in the middle. Times had been hard for No-Beard and his crew. The last few hauls had barely kept his ship stocked and his men paid. As he fiddled with his facial hair, he considered his options. The next job was locked in. It was going down tonight, and there was no reason to turn back now. After that, though, maybe it was time to go straight. Use his pirating knowledge to safely transport freight from outlying islands to the main continent. There's no way transporting it would be any more difficult than trying to take it, and he could do it with fewer crew members. Of course, he mused. There was always the chance that this job would pay enough to retire on. Maybe he'd get lucky this time. A knock broke him out of his thoughts. "Come in, lad," he offered, welcoming. A young human boy, barely 18 years old, let himself into the captain's cabin. He offered No-Beard a scroll case, and the captain took it gratefully. "Tell the senior crew I want a meeting in a half an hour here in the cabin." "Yes, Captain," the boy responded with a nod. When he was gone, the dwarf popped the top off the case and poured the rolled papers onto his desk. 30 minutes later, the three most senior crew members arrived. Leading them was Schmidt, the first mate. Schmidt was a minotaur, a large creature that was half man and half bull.
That's awesome, dude.
He was 7 feet tall before adding his horns, and covered in coarse brown fur. He wore red-dyed trousers, which were cut off above the upper knee, and a black vest, his massive arm and chest muscles bulging around the small amount of body adornment. Following Schmidt was Eluhane, the ship's elven quartermaster, and the crew's combat instructor. Because of his difficult name, the crew had taken to calling him Robert.
I was gonna say, like, that's a really cool name.
Oh,
but...
dude, it's like, I wrote it, I was like, that is gonna be the hardest name ever. I'm gonna pronounce that once.
Nice.
Robert, as his name would suggest, was an elf, and though he had lived over 50 years on the harsh Mistvale Ocean, he did not look it. Daily hours of sun exposure did not darken his alabaster complexion. The salt air didn't seem to attack his fine, chestnut brown hair. Even his face was smooth and angular.
Fucking hate elves, dude.
Dude, they're so pretty.
They're so pretty. I can never be that.
No, dude, you never.
You put me on a ship, I'm red as shit.
Yeah, and you're all like scraggly beard and like your hair's
Ugh.
destroyed by the sea.
And I just smell like poop. Like, there's no two ways around it. I smell like poop.
Well, everyone does.
Yeah.
Except for Robert the elf.
Ugh.
Because he's an elf.
I love Robert.
No-Beard had never bedded an elven lass, but his years with Robert had led him to believe that, outside of eyebrows, elves couldn't grow body hair. And he wasn't sure he trusted the eyebrows either. The only stereotypical pirate trait Robert had was the black leather eye patch that covered his right eye. He'd lost the eye before he joined No-Beard's crew and was entirely unwilling to discuss the occurrence.
Classic.
Yeah, dude. That's like the only piratey thing in there. It's the only that's the only stereotypical pirate aspect of him, and the only stereotypical pirate aspect of the story.
Well, that's fine.
The final senior crew member was Jimmy Johnson, the ship's chef.
That's a solid
That
name.
is a difficult sentence to say. Johnson, the ship's chef.
Jim, chef.
No-Beard had begun including Johnson as a senior crew member in recent years, as the successful raids became more meager and less frequent. The chef could not only explain the crew's current attitude, but he also had good judgment for how they would react to eventual outcomes. He kept his head and face shaved, but both had a dusting of black stubble. Johnson always wore a white smock and apron, and though it got dirty every day, he was cleanly dressed every morning. Once the three men had gathered around the side opposite of where the captain stood, No-Beard gestured to the maps, notes, and letters all laid out on his desk. "All right," No-Beard said finally. "This be all the information for our next mark." "Let's hope it's better than the last raid," Johnson added. "Most of the crew doesn't like Salic nuts as much as you do." No-Beard smiled.
Wait, what?
"Most of the crew doesn't like Salic nuts as much as you do."
Salic nuts?
Okay, here. No-Beard smiled. The last ship they took was a freight shipment of tropical Salic nuts, which were his favorite. On any given day, you'd rather have a warm Salic tea than a beer or ale.
Yeah, seriously, like, who is this guy?
This just offset him from dwarven society more, feeling his need to be out in the sea. No, No-Beard assured. "This ship be outfitted for human transport. And since slaver is banned along the Dralgo coast, the likelihood is that they're coming to collect illegal slaves. So they're likely to have a fat purse to pay for the added risk. Also, food for crew and cargo means there should be plenty of stores to refill our hold. And this is a heroic type mission, saving innocent souls and all. So if you ever want to go straight, this ought to overshadow some of the less nice jobs."
The less nice jobs.
He cleared his throat, rearranging the papers on the desk. "Ested arrival be tonight, during the Dralgo Harvest Festival. The plan is to slip beside 'em off the coast. One team will be on deck providing cover fire, while I lead the infiltration team to board the ship. If anything be going down funny, our cannon fire will be covered by the festival's fireworks." He paused briefly, then added, "Are there any questions?" That night, the pirate ship named No Name knifed through the dark waters, approaching its prey. You get it?
No Name the pirate ship.
It's No Beard the pirate, No Name the ship, and no title of the title.
Right.
That's the joke.
There's a theme. I gotcha.
As they neared, the small attack boat was lowered onto its belly. The infiltration team consisted of the captain, Schmidt, Doc, who simultaneously had no medical training and also caused the most bodily harm, as he was the only crewman with a blunderbuss, along with Charles the Blade, whose rapier skills were unparalleled, Jamie the Mischievous, who once stole every gold crown off a ship crewed by 40 men without being seen, and finally, Roger. Roger wasn't well regarded, and at least half of the men on the little boat secretly hoped he wouldn't return to the No Name.
Man.
Dude, they don't like Roger.
No one likes Roger.
On the No Name's deck, Robert had assembled the 6 best marksmen. Each had a loaded musket trained on the target ship's deck, as well as an extra preloaded musket on hand, so that 2 shots could be fired before reloading was necessary. Below deck, all the remaining crew members, even Chef Johnson, were on cannon duty. The 7 marksmen aimed at the other ship's deck, but there was only one form visible, standing behind the wheel. All at once, the sky lit up with the bright explosion of the Dralgo Harvest Festival fireworks. As soon as the fireworks provided sonic cover, the 6-man boarding party threw their grappling lines and began scampering up the aft of the ship. 6 muskets were trained on the other ship's pilot. Robert was watching the deck hatch lest some unwanted merchant crewman came up for a nightly stroll. The figure standing at the helm either didn't hear the boarders or was too frightened to turn around. The 6, all guns trained on the helmsman, watched as No Beard approached the dark form. "Lad," the dwarf said, "if ye cooperate, we'll see ye imprisoned instead of slain." The captain and all 5 crew members with him had their various weapons drawn. There was no response. No Beard sighed, then swung his scimitar at the cloaked figure's back. In a dark blue, the creature whirled around, the brown cloak flying free of his body, and caught the captain's blade. The creature had dark red skin, small black horns, and bright yellow eyes with goat-like pupils. Black taloned fingers wrapped tightly around the curved sword's blade.
Wait.
The demon's sinister and toothy smile held everyone in awe.
Dude.
Demon pirates, dude.
Demon pirates.
We both did it.
Yeah.
We both had a prompt that suggested demon pirates, but we both went there.
That's awesome.
The black talons of the creature's free hand, meeting no resistance, plunged effortlessly into No Beard's gut. All the pirates watched agape as their mortally wounded captain stumbled backwards a few paces. He let go of his sword, the sound of it clattering to the deck entirely drowned out by exploding fireworks. With one free hand, No Beard clutched his wounded stomach, and with the other he tugged his flintlock free of his waist belt. The demon looked at the pistol and laughed. The pirate captain squeezed his trigger. A small explosion launched a little sphere of lead out of the gun's barrel, through the warm night air, and into the demon's large yellow eye, then finally out the back of the demon's head.
Jeez.
The demon's laugh was abruptly cut off, and after a moment, he fell straight back. An unsettling howl, which sounded like 1,000 angry crows cawing, issued from the sky. "We're leaving," Schmidt declared. "I'll grab the captain." As if to punctuate the sentence, 2 massive dark forms landed between the pirates and their grapple lines. These new demons were a head taller than the Minotaur, their thick, beefy muscles rippling beneath grayish-black skin. Their wings spanned 12 feet easily, and their hands, tails, and mouths were covered and filled with sharp, pointy death. The riflemen on the No Name unleashed their first volley, a few lead balls hitting one of the flying demons. The struck creature spread its massive pair of wings and bounded for the other ship. "Doc, you're with me," Schmidt ordered, slapping his 2 swords together. The giant bullman wielded 2 heavy falchions, each one fit for a 2-handed human weapon. Doc hefted his old, worn blunderbuss in acknowledgement. The firearm was pieced together with copper working parts, a lead hammer, and a rusty iron barrel bound to the forestock with a length of brass wire. "Follow my lead," the first mate added before rushing the demon. Doc stayed close behind. Just feet away from his target, Schmidt leapt, arms ending in curved metal death outstretched to either side, ready to crash down on his foe. With a sinister flash of speed, the demon brought his tail around, taking the Minotaur in the chest. With unholy strength, the bladed appendage sliced through the flesh, muscle, and bone, cleaving Schmidt in half right through his ribs. Doc didn't pause. He didn't stop. He didn't think about the loss of his friend. He simply aimed and fired. Metal fragments, debris, and burning black powder showered the demon's face, shredding the black flesh and taking out his eyes. Pirate only had half a moment to revel in his vengeful success before the large tail swiped back and took off Doc's arms.
Jeez.
One above the elbow and the other below.
This is like, this is a suicide mission.
Well, they didn't know it was demons, dude.
Dude!
No Beard leaned against the lip of the deck, unsure of how he'd even gotten there. He watched as the black beasts, barely visible in the night darkness, tore his crew apart like so much wet paper. The pirate captain collapsed, unable to deal with his pain or the sight of so much carnage. The last sight he saw before passing out was a stream of red demons pouring out from below deck. Sometime later, No Beard awoke. He had hope, but the knifing pain in his gut suggested everything he could remember actually happened. "He's awake, sire," a small voice informed. The dwarf spared a weary glance, seeing an imp of a demon in the dim light, its large eyes fixed on him. A mighty, bulbous shape approached slowly but purposefully, its round, bulging form emerging carefully from the shadows. Of all the demons Nobeard had seen this night, this newest one was the most grotesque. Its fat, sagging body was covered in yellow-green skin.
Ew.
Even though its legs were short, it still towered over the dwarf. Its head was like a ripe watermelon sitting on its side. Black, lidless eyes set far apart in it.
I want to draw this dude.
The melon head was split with a lipless mouth, the maw filled with gnarled, yellowed teeth. The creature wore only two things: a brown loincloth that covered some foulness Nobeard wasn't privy to, and a simple rawhide necklace with a crystal affixed to it. The crystal was glowing a faint red. "Well," it started, its voice altogether disgusting and terrible, "you and your kind have been quite a nuisance. My ship's been unfairly damaged and my shipment delayed. All of your men are dead." The lead demon paused to let the idea sink in. Honestly, the captain was a bit relieved. His next course of actions could be completed without fear of jeopardizing surviving crew members. The creature, clearly pleased with itself, continued. "We've ensured that you will survive your wounds, but the process should prove quite painful. Do you have any last mulings before I have you tossed into the hold and forgotten?" "Yeah," No Beard answered. It hurt to speak, and every flash of pain made the demon's necklace crystal glow brighter. "The ship always goes down with the captain," he commented flatly.
Wait,
That's
the other way around.
the other way around.
That's cool.
The watermelon head split into an infernal approximation of a smile. "This time, I'm afraid not," the demon gloated. Then he noticed something peculiar. The small glass gem set in No Beard's necklace had begun to glow a bright blue color. The demon quietly regarded it with curiosity. In the black powder hold of the no-name, a massive replica of the bead the captain wore glowed a similar blue, which quickly grew brighter and brighter until it ruptured, bursting forth with seemingly limitless magical energy, igniting all the explosive powder as it did. Back in the hold of the demon ship, the rotund creature watched the glass bauble glow brightly, then wink out. Before the demon could inquire about it, the explosion of the nearby pirate ship hit the hellboat. The side of the room gave way to the magically charged explosion. Wood and other shrapnel filled the room, followed moments later by an intense and angry onslaught of water. A burning chunk of support beam toppled the demon standing over No Beard. The dwarf, in immense pain, pushed himself to his feet and dove into the water-filled opening. On a dark, sandy beach, still in sight of the festival, but not filled with revelers or drunken farmers, stood two dark figures. As ship flotsam washed onto the shore, the two sifted through the detritus. After some time, the smaller of the two called out, "Hey, over here. I found something alive, but something's attached to him." The other figure approached. Next to the speaker, the second form was nearly twice the height. "Ah," the taller figure said in a melodic feminine voice. "This is demon technology. It should help the healing process." "Well," Armani White said, throwing back his hood.
Armani White!
Throwing back his hood to look up at his female companion. "I think we found our sailor." The end.
Whoa, what are they doing?
Got a new guy.
They're they're making a party?
They're doing something.
Oh, I'm excited for that.
Got plans.
Dude. That was brutal.
I told you, it was as brutal as the second one, maybe more.
Yeah, that's insane, man. That was cool. Demon pirates. Like, I did a little demon as a joke, kind of.
Yeah.
And you did a bunch of demons is not a joke.
There was no jokes in that one.
No jokes.
There were a couple of jokes, like Roger and Robert.
Yeah. Whew. Good story, dude.
Thanks. I hope you actually enjoyed it, and people enjoyed it.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. Those were our
Cool.
stories of pirates. I hope you like
Pirates. Sorry,
no.
my energy. I just got some energy.
I like it. Pirates have to have energy. They're gonna go invade other ships and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so for next week, the shared prompt will be damsels in distress.
Yeah.
It's like a classic fantasy theme, you know.
Yeah, it's like how can we dissect that?
How can we
That sounds
do it?
cool.
How can we do it new or different or exactly the same way? But, I mean, Disney could do it, and everyone would be eating that stuff up.
Stuff.
So then your unique prompt for me.
I'm gonna give you a city in the sky.
City in the sky. It's like Cloud City.
Like Cloud City, only more fantasy, less science fiction.
Okay. Hey, if I have to,
dude, you can throw as much science fiction as you want.
I can't make it too Cloud City because if I do, I'll have to include Landon Bravo, and everyone will realize that he's just Lando Calrissian this whole time.
Oh man.
For you, I will give you the unique prompt of flora. Like a new plant, something that, you know, because I mean, there hasn't been that many plants. I added salic nuts in this one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I mean, we haven't done much in the way of plants, and I imagine your fantasy world has something that is not a normal plant.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about it because I don't think about it.
I have been thinking about that. I actually, now that I think about it, there was another one. In the fairy story, I had a plant.
Yes, you did. When I was editing it, I was like, oh, that's a cool plant. What was it? I don't even remember.
It was like demon thistle or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And for next week, Nate and I are going to have a guest story.
Or we might not.
Yeah, I've invited a co-worker of mine. I can't call him a friend. I don't think we've hung out outside of work. One time he came to a breakfast and then left before we got food. So that's the one time I've hung out with him outside of work. Although, I mean, I guess, you know, he doesn't have a car, so I've driven him home from work a bunch of times. Like, we'll go to Taco Bell and have food and stuff. So I guess I've kind of hung out with him a little bit. But he's a coworker. That's how I know him. That's how he is. So he will join us. And so his unique prompt, Nate and I discussed and came up with a vampire or vampires.
So is he doing damsel in distress as well?
Yeah, that's the shared.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
I thought he was only going to do vampires.
Dude, that would be boring. Only vampires?
I don't care.
Nah, it could actually be really cool because you could do Dracula Untold. Although I guess since he becomes Dracula to protect his wife, that already is a damsel in distress.
Boom. Done.
Travis, just write Dracula Untold.
All right.
All right. So that was the free fantasy for your ear holes for this week.